Today's class will be about research, because these 2 weeks we'll be doing research. Of course, we wouldn't be so deep like a market research company, or market research consultants. But you got to understand the basic methodologies and how to find out the market opportunities, how to study users, right? We'll be talking about some market research, some user study, then I will give a little bit case studies. Market research is for you to collect information about market. We will do this in every step of the product life cycle. It might happen before you develop a product, for you to collect market information, come out with problems, and come out with the idea. Or it might happen during the product for you to validate your ideas, your concept. Or it might happen after developing, before marketing, for you to come up with better marketing strategy, help you to promote your products. You can collect many information for you to get overall understanding, for you to get a more better understanding of the real situation, about the users or the purchaser. Sometimes the people who buy is not people who use, right? Or other products, in the market, existing products in the market, how they are doing, what kind of limitations they have, or what kind of problem they have, Price is always a challenge. It also means an opportunity. I know many companies in China. International brands go to China and fail because, for example, eBay they go to China and they fail because Alibaba come out with a new service called Taobao, and it's totally free. And eBay they charge the vendors, but eBay charges small vendors for you to put on shelf, for you to sell, And Alibaba, Taobao is totally free. And how Taobao make money is through they call it Alipay. It's PayPal, Alipay. And Alipay is also an innovation because, like I mentioned last time, in China there are no social security number, no credit system yet. So Alibaba Group, they aimed themselves as the kind of like a accreditation third party. So when you buy something online, you pay through Alipay, so you give the money to Alibaba. Then Alibaba will hold the money until your product to the customer. So the customer receives the product. Customer receive the product, and then they go online and say, okay, I'm satisfied with the product. Then Alipay will release money to the vendor. That's how it goes. So So price is also an important issue, And I know there was another company who do. Sometimes when you don't have strategy to beat your competitors, make it free is always a good strategy. Then you make money from other opportunities. And also, I believe the trend for internet or mobile internet is free. While free service, you get some other opportunity come up, and you utilize that. But that doesn't mean you have to rely on advertisement. Advertisement is the last strategy, last profit model when you don't have a profit model. Research about the competitors, who are other players in the field, how they are doing, why they succeed, why they fail, Also the resources, what resources you can utilize. Sometimes, about resources. In Silicon Valley, I talked to many startups, and the resources for them is also human manpower. So it's so hard for you to find the right talents for your team, especially with startups. So you got to have the right resources. Yeah. human, of course money, and also suppliers. Also sometimes your new products need many chips, many PCB board, all the components. You may need all the resources as well. So anyway, like the last time week I showed you the Wawa. Think about how much it may cost for you to develop such an app, such a toy in the States. It will cost you millions of dollars, But in Shenzhen we had it developed very low cost. So sometimes these kind of resources can be if you know all the resources, can also be a winning competence for you, And if you guys have any good ideas, and I also can help you guys link to all the resources. I also have open hardware. You guys know like Arduino. If you develop robots, you can use the Arduino board. The Arduino board is kind of like open hardware, so anybody can write code on the open hardware. So you'll be able to define your movement you want your robot to do or your toy to do, And it's very low cost, about $20 for each piece. So not like before when you want to develop, you need to spend a lot of money. Nowadays the cost has really goes down. But of course Silicon Valley is still very high. Social info, what are the parties that are involved, what's their role, what's their relationship between each party, the cultural info, Have you guys been to other countries? Which country you been to?
Sure. A lot of Europe.
Latin America? Latin Europe?
A lot of Europe.
Oh, Europe. Okay.
Switzerland, France, Netherlands, Germany. Going to Italy.
Cool. So did you see a lot of cultural difference between?
Oh yeah, way different.
When I went to Sri Lanka for a trip, I don't know if India is the same. They like to paint their car. Every car is painted with the Buddha image. So their car just like Buddha, like a temple, So even I know like mobile phone cases in the area, very religion influence. Yeah. So you will see all the cultural difference in many places. In China, like I said, every city speaks a different dialect. So we have many minorities, and they have a different culture. They even dress different clothing. But of course nowadays we all have TV, we all speak Mandarin, and the school teach Mandarin, but still like keep it, Also geography information, location and so on. So you identify the trend. You will do market segmentation, analyze the price, identify the trends. Write the reports, make your marketing plans. You will also do your SWOT analysis. Right? You guys also know, right? You will analyze your strengths, your weakness, your opportunities, your threat. By analyzing this, you will know, even if some market has an opportunity for you, but are you be able to take that chance? There's so many opportunities. You have to find the opportunity that fit you the best. You know, you have all the resources to be able to take that opportunity. Location, competitor, you know, trend market analysis, and so on. You know, yeah. So a very important thing is to do the market segmentation. You know, so because it's very difficult for you to design a product that you can fit for every segment of the market. It's so difficult. Nokia used to be a monster of mobile phones. So when Apple started to get more mobile phone market, I was still very strong believe in the future for Nokia because they grab most segments. You go to rural market, you saw many farmers using Nokia. You go to developing countries, you see they using Nokia. You know, so they have more market segments. Even luxury phones, middle class people, luxury products, you still can see Nokia brand. So it's really a pity that their managing team will make themselves lose the market. You know? And they shouldn't have go with Microsoft. You know, even though I like the new Windows Phone platform, you know, but Nokia married Microsoft just make Nokia lose themselves. You know, yeah. So it's really a pity. Even today, you know, India, China, or South America, Africa, a lot of people are using Nokia. And I know they also had many innovations at that time, but they didn't have that good strategy like Apple, iTunes. By doing the iTunes, Apple let the global developers to work for Apple for free, and Apple share profit with them, you know. And Nokia at that time was just hiring companies like me, like my company, to work for them to develop apps. So they need to spend a lot of cost, a lot of money. So that's one strategy they done was wrong, you know. But they really have many good apps. Like in Africa, Nokia, you know, my company used to work with Nokia for NFC mobile payments, and that was 2007, you know, for NFC. But even nowadays, even today, NFC is still not a standard for many phones. You know, it's going to be a trend, but still not yet. And in Africa, I know Nokia even have mobile payments through SMS. You know, so which means when you go to ATM, you send an SMS to the ATM, send a text message to the ATM, ATM give you money. When you go to a small vendor to buy some groceries, you send an SMS, and then you purchase, finish your purchase. It's really innovation, you know, for the developing areas. So when you do market segments, you are dividing them into the subsets of consumers, you know, which means we are also developing the users, dividing the users, you know. Market is composed of people, human. So you will analyze the usage, the demographic, the psychology, geography issues. You will compare all the information with your internal company resources, competence, you know. Then get to know what kind of product I should launch, how I should promote, you know, what kind of marketing strategy I should have. You can divide them by age or gender, you know, divide them by their locations, you know, or their social class, their income level, you know, their job function, you know, difference, you know. you can do different way to segment them, you know. But my tips is that when you do the segments, of course, many people will say we need to find a niche market to get into the market, you know, because there are already many big players there. But you also need to know is the segment big enough for you to sustain your business. You know? And is the market, niche market you find stable enough, you know. It's easy for you to reach the target segment you want to reach, you know. Also, what's in common and what are different, you know. Maybe I can talk a little bit more about this. I used to wrote an article said 4A principle about the user experience. What's the 4A principle? Can I get the marker? Okay. It's the 4A principle for you to do user experience. One is awareness. Awareness means you need to make your target users aware of your service, aware of your products. So you will do promotion, you will do marketing, you know, you will do advertisement to make them get to know you, right? So the second A is called accessibility, you know. So people get to know, okay, you have such a service, you have such a product. Will they be able to access it, you know? If, for example, you are developing an iPhone app, but your target user Android, or even they might still use a low-end Nokia Symbian platform phone, you know. Then you have to develop another version, you know, for them, you know. So accessibility. Or like last time I mentioned about the rural market, even though they have a computer and you provide a web service, you know. So accessibility. The third one is called acceptance. Okay, so they know your product, they be able to access. So will they really accept your service, accept your product, right? Or are they be able to afford your product, you know? So the first one is called addictiveness. Okay, so they accept your product. They become your customer. Can you keep the loyal customer? Can you keep them addicted to your service? You know, so they really enjoy using your service, really enjoy using your product, and they keep coming back. They keep spending. You know. So that's what I talked about. One of my articles. So when we do the market segments, that's also the issues we need to consider. Okay, is it cost effective? No. So maybe it's a good idea, but it costs a lot, and it's really not worth doing that. You know. And also how to segment. You know, depend on you can depend on the age, the income. You know, but it's really depends on your service or your product. You use a different way to do the segmentation. Later on, I will give an example. You know, when we do analyze the consumer market, you know, we may go from their behavior model, you know, go from their psychology model or ethnographic model. We may analyze the purchase behavior, how they consume your product. What kind of media they're using, you know, how they operate your service, your product, what's their living habits, you know, their personality, how they talk to your product, their attitude, what's the motivation. This is also very challenging, you know. what's the motivation will stimulate them to use your service and keep them, you know. What's the purpose your target user want to achieve? And also demographic, social, economy and geography, you know. So this is more for personal, this is more for user, how to use that. This is more for general, you know, broad image. Yeah. For example, we all know P&G even for shampoo, they have many brands, you know, because they segment the market in different ways. Even for same brand under P&G, same brand, they have different type of products. So how they segment? They segment by maybe the type of your hair, type of your skin, you know. So that's a different way. So maybe or sometimes I know they also segment by male or female, you know, your skin, your hairstyle. I mean your skin style, skin type. Yeah. So it's not always by age or not always by income. You need to segment right. Yeah, in the right way based on your products. Do everyone know this story about Alienware? Alienware is really a good story about winning by segment well, find a niche market, then by design, win the market by creative design, very creative design. Okay, so the story is like this. You know, I forgot the name. You know, it's not that easy for me to remember Western name. The two founders, they were very young. They were very young at that time. They were at Miami, I believe. So they come together. They say, "Oh, we should start up a new business. Let's do something." So they say, "What we should do? Okay, let's do computer." You know, they say, "We want to do computer." How can you compete with HP, with IBM, even Lenovo, even higher, you know, even Dell already in business at that time, you know. So many computer brands already in market, right? So, so you are just two young fellows and you want to do computer, you know. If you go to at that time Circuit City, you go to Best Buy. For family use computer, for desktop, for laptop, for business type, for working station, all type of computers already have big brands there. Also, they have different ranges. You know, how can you get a niche market, be able to get in the market? You know, and without fighting with all the big monster brands. Face to face, you know, you cannot beat with Dell or IBM at that time, you know. So they analyze the users. So they find one niche market that are not quite satisfied at that time. What are the segments? The segment is that there is such a group of people. They are young, they make good income, and they like to play video games. So, but they cannot find a such good computers with very good graphic card, very good you know, hardware that enable them to play all the video games very quick, very cool. You know, they make, so that's why. So they just targeting at such a group of people. So I'm aiming at these young fellows with good income. They like to play racing cars. They like to play video games. They're willing to spend a little bit more money for a better video card, right? They like cool stuff, you know. Those kind of people, they like cool, you know. So that's why then they build up this brand called Alienware. So I'm building a new brand, Alienware, for this young generation, this special category, special segment. And then, you know, they design the logo just like an alien, you know. Then they translate the corporation image, the identity, corporation identity. The corporation identity comes from your market segments, comes from your positioning, you know. So you are positioning yourself at the last segment. So that's why you brand yourself as a very element. That's why you design the element like that. Then you design the computer like an alien, like with the streamline like a racing car, you know. So it's a very good design, you know, and even the UI style is very alien, very set, you know, like out from outer space, you know. And it becomes so successful when they go to market. Then after 2 or 3 years, they are quite by down, you know, with the very huge amount of money, you know. 2 young fellows, you know, make this. And you know, it's really not about high tech. It's really not about technology. But if you want to do a computer, you get a P3 board from Intel, you get so many chips inside, hardware inside from different suppliers. All you do is build your brand, design a case to marketing, right? So it's not about high tech. It's really about doing the right market segments, build the right branding strategy, translate your branding strategy into a design, you know. So it's a winning of designing, you know, of design. So why I put the GMC there is that, you know, after ADMA is so successful, so many other computer manufacturers also start to want to address this segment. So GMC produced that, but I don't think that's really nice because ADMA is so cool and so streamlined, so actually also so simple, and GMC is so complicated, you know, like from garbage can, you know. Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah. So it's a win of design, you know, winning from designing. So as I mentioned last time, I'm hoping a local startup, they are in San Jose, to do the travel booking market. So we are also analyzing how the segments, because the retired generation, retired people are spending a lot of money, actually every year traveling. But they are using less social media, less computer, less mobile phones, you know. So how we target the right segments will be a challenge, you know. They spend a lot of money, but most travel agents, most travel booking service companies right now are not targeting at this segment well, you know. So just mention a little bit about it, you know. So we will have a special strategy to target right people. Or we may can categorize segment users by how they adopt your product, your service, right? So this is called consumer adoption curve. So when a new product, very innovative product come out on the market, it's a new product, new technology. So you always have some people who are, we call innovators, who are very technology sensed. These kind of people, they are so, we call geek, some people call geek, right? They're so crazy about new technology, so crazy about new stuff. So even before you launch your product, they already pay attention to your what you are doing. So when the first day when you launch the market, they are the first guy to buy it, you know. Those kind of people is called innovator. You'll be able to find many feedback, any feedback from those people. You know, those people normally also make good money. You know, so they'll be able to buy all the new and cool stuff. You know, or early adopters. When you launch and you get your early adopters, you'll be able to get feedback from the early adopters. These people, they are how to say, they are fashion people. they like to follow the fashion, but they are not innovative. They are not that creative, So whenever there's a new fashion show in New York, the next day here the lady will dress the dress just showing the fashion show. They are fashion follower. They are the follower, So the idea of thought, they are also making good income. Those people, otherwise they cannot afford. Then early adopters will start to lead the trend. Lead more people start to pay attention to product. So you will have the early majorities start buying your products. Then you later majorities, But some people we call it laggards. Those people are not sensitive to technology, not sensitive to fashion. They may never buy a product. Or maybe until last day, until everybody already have it, then they have to have that. That kind of people are not what you should focus. You may try very hard, but it's really not worth to spend that much effort to focus it in laggards. So that's also another way to segment the users, the market. So we also talk about how to study the users. There are also many methodologies, many ways you can do to study user. Of course, you can make a survey, make a questionnaire, right? You can go to, I know nowadays you also have many online survey websites. If you Google online survey, you can find many such surveys. So you can customize your questions online, send the links to your friends, to the people who want to participate. Or you can make a paper questionnaire. You go talk to them, ask them to fill out the questionnaire for you, answer the questions. But normally a questionnaire is for you to get a statistical analysis, And normally say if you get more samples, the better, And the typical flow for the questionnaire sequence is that you got to have the screens first. The first 1 or 2 questions is for you to understand if you are interviewing you are talking to a right person, if they are your target users. For example, you are designing something for young mom, and that guy is not a young mom, then so you don't need to go to next step to answer other questions, So that's for screens. So before you do the screening, you need to define what are your target users. You need to put all the criteria about your target user. We call it screeners. Then some 1 or 2 simple questions to warm up. Very simple for them to warm up. Then some transitional questions. For them to go next. Or skips. If you answer this question yes, then you go to question number 5. If not, go to question number 6, something like this. There's some different questions at last, because sometimes people may in a questionnaire model. They are not many people like to be asked for so many questions. So they may just random pick. They don't think, or they are not serious participate. So they want. Sometimes what we do is that we tell them this is the last question, or this is the last 2 questions. So they know. Or in the online survey, you have this process bar to show almost done. So they will be encouraged to finish the question. Then at the last is classification questions. In the classification questions, normally a debate about maybe related to some privacy issue. So if you put at the beginning, they wouldn't waiting to answer you. So that's how it's good. So what's good and bad is that it's good to get many samples and get many general data, like some facts, especially good for facts, you know. But for some psychology issue, behavior issue, or attitude issue, it's not that precise by this way. You know. Or you can do an interview. You know, you can just ask them questions. There's so many ways of interview, like focus group, or you can just talk to 1 people at a time, or talk to 10 people at a time. You know. But my tips is that users may lie. You know, when you talk to somebody, they may lie, especially when you put the camera in front of him. You know. So, for example, that from recent news. I think it's in CNN or anyway in New York. So the TV channel go to New York Street. They interview some people random on the street. Say, "Hi, do you know this movie?" They talk about fake movie name. Said, "Do you know this movie? They just nominated for an Oscar award. What do you think about this movie?" You know. Then those people who are answering interviews say, "Oh, that's a good movie. I really like it, and I enjoy it, and I think they deserve it." You know. So that's what they talk. So that's from So all users may try to please you. You know. So when you interview, you better hide your own opinion. You know. Otherwise, they might try to please you, to make you happy, to answer the question they think they want you to answer. You know. Or sometimes users may even self-contradict, you know. So you've got to be aware of your own bias, your own prejudice. And also better ask for a story, for experience, instead of asking for a solution. Like Job said, don't ask the client, the user what they want. They don't know, you know. Because the users are not innovators, are not designers, they cannot design a solution. Like before the first car was invented, you cannot ask some people how you want your car looks like, how you want to have a product to be able to help you travel faster. They cannot answer you. They may just I want a better horse, right? So, but you still can do interview, you still can do research to find out about the needs. They may complain to you, "Oh, my horse, they easy to get tired, they cannot travel so fast. You know, I need to travel to another state to see my uncle, and it cannot get me there in 2 days." You know, you still can do research to find out the problems, right? But you don't ask the user to provide you with a solution. And while you are interviewed, you also observe carefully. You know, sometimes their facial expressions, you know, may say something, even though they don't talk about it, even though they don't mention about it. You know, or you need to ask why and go to details. You know, or pay attention to the model particle. You know, you will say, "Oh, yeah." You know, some of these kind of words actually mean a lot of things. You know, yeah. But also, you know, when we talk about problems, you know, problems have two type of problems. That's for my understanding. One is that it has a standard, so you know how to solve that. Like the internet speed, of course, always the faster the better. You know, the storage, of course, the bigger the better. You know, so this kind of thing, when you find the problems, you want to compete with your competitors, provide a better one, because it already have standard. Something has no standard, like the experience stuff. Then you need to understand what are the users, what type of thing makes them happy, right? So it's different. Or another way we do is we call it user diary. You know, so you provide your target users with a diary. So they will either write down or record, to your answers to what they are doing every day, what's their feedback, what's their impressions, in what kind of circumstance and what kind of activities happen, So this I think, I write down a little bit. So you need to when you review many user diaries, you need to identify the patterns. So what are the patterns you need to pay attention? One is the common behavior. What's in common, right? What are the common issues? Another thing is what's the different between many people. What's the context of use? What's the sequence context of use? And what's the situated action? It has to have some kind of situation that it will happen. And also, what the success, the fail, of each time you need to pay attention. Or any kind of barrier they have, or any kind of problem they face. So that's how you analyze the user diaries.
So is that a built-in user interface, or do you send off a signal to remind them to input?
Actually, there are many ways. You can just play a checklist with all questions for them to answer, to write down every day. Make sure it's in their diary. Or you can make a phone call every day or every other day to them, and you write down, how you're doing now, how you like my product, and what happened, So you go to every checklist. Or you can use some tracking tools, Of course, observe. I would say observe is always happen, always important. My tips is that don't disturb users. Try to make them in their natural situation, in their natural behavior. Of course, also beware of bias, and make sure it's the right target. Find a regular pattern in a real environment. Observe the phenomenon. Record the sequence, and also use the right tools. There are many tools. Later I will show you some tools we use to help you to observe. Of course, you will use your eyes to watch, your ears to listen, But you can also use some tools to help you. This is a product. I don't know if you guys heard about that. It's a company. They provide this product called IC mannequins. So the mannequins actually are watching you. When you go shopping. So the mannequins are watching all the shoppers. When maybe you are, this clothing is good. I don't like the texture. You're talking with your friend in front of lecture, and they are watching you. They are recording you, together with the facial expression. They recognize software. They can analyze how you feel with your feedback, So be careful, Don't keep your mouth, when you're in front of the lecture. So I just mentioned some company will use the facial expression recognizing software. This software they will recognize your expressions through your video capture. So they know if you are in a natural, happy, sad, or angry, scared, disgust, Then they provide you with analysis. And what we do is that we will let the users conduct the task. So they were doing this, they will finish a task according to your research plan. Then while they're doing the task, we videotape everything. So together with the facial expression, we know what type of task they feel confused, what type of task makes them feel surprised, you know. So yeah, that's how we analyze. So we also used to use eye tracking. These are the old eye tracking equipment. But these eye trackers are really not that well, because you have to wear very heavy stuff, or you even have to put your jaw there. So you're not in your natural gesture, in your natural situation. So that way some people are not behaving naturally, you know. So some data may not be that right. Yeah. Or recently, I know Toby just has the glasses, so it's wearable like a glass, and they just put on your pocket. So I know some companies use this to train badminton players, train the tennis players, you know. So this all they use this to help. It's not just the interface, also used to get to know how you do shopping. Where are you looking at? You know, which shelf you are looking at. You know, which item you spend more time at. You know, so yeah. So the eye tracking equipment is getting smaller, more variable. Yeah, and also more precise. Like I just said, price is always an issue. You know, even the smallest one, Toby glasses, eye tracker, still costs a lot of money. If some stuff costs a lot of money, means there's an opportunity as well. You know, even though this big monster, they already make a lot of money, they already grab the market. You know, also means a market. So there's a company called Busy Hawk. It's a startup in Y Combinator. You guys know Y Combinator, right? It's an incubator. So this Busy Hawk is a startup in Y Combinator. They provide this online eye tracking analysis service for you. So you pay for each time. You don't have to buy the heavy equipment. And then what you do is you send a link to their website. They will send a link to the tester, to the target users. Then they do you will get all the eye tracking data from your dashboard. You know. So you can try. If in the future you guys need to use, and you don't have expensive Toby, you know, eye tracker, you can use this. Like when we do eye tracking, is that, you know, the more you stare, the color will be the more red, you know. So we also have for web browsing, we also have we call it F, kind of like, it's always like an F, you know. So some people will say, okay, so since people are looking at the website, browsing the website in an F way, then we should design the website in an F way, you know. Then I would say that's wrong. Because the reason people look at the website in an F way is because typical website, the navigation will be like that. The navigation, the menu bar will be like that. That's why they look at it in an F way. So you don't have to. Yeah, you can creatively bring a new way for them to let Google more focused. So I give you another example about how we use eye tracking, how people use eye tracking. Look at this poster. This is the advertisement. You guys saw that? Okay. visual advertisement is about Apple. So they have this kind of poster, for advertisement. That a very handsome guy with a very beautiful woman, put a tube of ice, So, do you guys think this is a good advertisement?
I can't read.
You don't have to read, just in general,
Is it a good advertisement?
Yeah.
Well, that depends. Is it selling the product it's supposed to be selling? No. But is it a good advertisement? Yes.
Why?
Because it's a clean design and because it appeals to the emotions.
Yeah. Yeah, I would also say it's a good design. It looks beautiful. Yeah, the layouts, the ideas, for the cube, and the cube color is the aqua color, it's nice. But then if you use the eye tracking to do it, yes. If you use eye tracker to do analysis, you will find out most people pay a lot of attention to the kicks, instead of the product. Many people are ignoring the product, so which means then maybe not, right? Maybe not, because we want people pay more attention to my product, right? So, so what about we change to this way? This way actually is not a good design. It's not a good poster. You put it in the center, it looks weird, right?
It leads right to the product.
Right. So let's do an eye tracking. Oh, now people pay more attention to products. Right. So I give you one. This is also a poster of advertisement when I was traveling in Shanghai, and this is everywhere in Shanghai subway. So because every time I go to subway, I quick to catch a train. So I was very quick. So every time when I look at the poster, I thought it was an advertisement about one product. So, but there was one time I was waiting for the train for a long time, so I spent more time reading. Then I found out I was wrong. I was wrong for the whole time. It's an advertisement for another product, another service. So, what type of service or product you guys think it is? Water bottle. Yeah, that's what I thought. It's colorful, it's beautiful, it's right in the center. The many color arrangement, color various, variables. And what else? Any other, maybe? Any other?
Water bottle concealing pants.
Concealing?
There's no hole where the bottle is.
Okay.
It's just a button.
Okay.
Like a packet of,
Right.
a packet of flavor?
Packet of flavor. Okay. Yeah, but I know you guys cannot read Chinese, but think about is at subway. Every people will like me normally run quickly to catch a train. I also don't read. No.
Is it a workout bottle? Workout?
Okay, workout. Okay.
Workout water bottle?
Workout water bottle. Okay. Yeah. I also asked many other people. People will say, okay, maybe it's selling the underwear. It's nice underwear. Or maybe it's a gym advertisement for promoting yoga, for you to be slim, Or somewhere, selling bottles, of course. But, then at last, when I read, it has this newspaper logo there, and it says, if you subscribe the newspaper for a whole year, I give you one bottle. Then, I don't know how much money you spend for the advertisement, and I'm sure they lose money because nobody will pay attention to the newspaper. It's a newspaper advertisement, but they are hoping the people selling the bottles. So the bottle company might be very happy. Yeah.
So with the year subscription, you get free water bottle.
Yeah.
Well, how much is the year subscription?
103.2. Yeah.
And how much is the water bottle?
I guess, I don't know, like 50 yuan. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, if they could have do some eye tracker and
Well,
things.
there's no emotional appeal, there's no logical appeal, there's no visual appeal, there's no appeal at all.
Yeah. Even that, I don't know that logo was for the newspaper. You know, I wouldn't read because it's there. You know, I work so quick. I wouldn't look so underneath. You know. Yeah. So yeah, let's go on. There are also some services to help you to track your mouse movement. You know, I know some websites help you do that as well. You know, so they will track your live mouse movement, give you the heat max of your moving or scroll. You know, how you scroll, how you move. You know, and give you the animatics. Yeah.
Is this available online, this whole presentation?
Yes, I will. I will put online tonight. Yeah. I know also some people will use the brainwaves monitoring, you know, to help you understand. Just like how you detect a liar, you know. I know nowadays the product also has become smaller and smaller, and it's called X-Wave that it can read your map, and you can use this to control your iPhone. It's already available. Some other brain computing. This is not about research, but I put it here to, you know, it might be future way of interacting, future way of interaction, future way to control your computer, you know, to do all the things. Of course, I would say the the best way is to try it, to experience it, to put yourself into that environment, to act as your target users. For example, you want to design some product for a taxi driver, then maybe you try to be a taxi driver for a couple of weeks or at least a couple of days. You know, then you suffer what they are suffering. You enjoy what they are enjoying. They're facing the problem they just faced. Then I would say that's the best way, you know. But may not always be able to do it, you know. Of course, last time I also mentioned that we also use some software to track the user usage, like a mobile usage tracker, you know. So some case studies. These are from my own experience. You know, this was a project called Nokia Live Tours. So we provide some live tours for the people in rural areas. So it's already popular used in India, Indonesia, Pakistan, Ghana, in Africa, and already in many developing areas. So because it was on the feature phones, you know, Nokia was keyboard feature phones, not the smartphones. And it was a SMS-based subscription service for the farmers to subscribe some marketing information, subscribe some entertainment, education information, you know. And I know they in India they charge 30 rupees per month. And also, you can send an SMS to get some help from rural agriculture experts. You know. So, so this was about the interface. It was the first version was pixel the UI. You know, when you do the icons, it's by pixels. You know, it's not like today. You know. So this was a project we've done for education service company. They called U Class. So this was before our service. So before So they come to us with this website. So they want to do a website. They want to build up a SNS website for the educator and the parents and also the children. You know. So this was before. Can you guys see any problem with this website? It's really busy, and the navigation is so terrible. Navigation, you know. So it's like Facebook. So it's an SNS. So you can share your diary, you can post your image, you can make friends, you know. And how they make money is that they have navigation here, they have menu bar here, and also they want to encourage you to. How they make money is they're selling all the textbooks, you know. So as a student want to buy textbooks, they have to choose from high school, middle school, primary school. If high school, then mathematics, you know, blah blah, you know, geometry. So you need to select all the then select grade 1, grade 2. The navigation is so terrible. Then also the common books, you know. Then another way of navigating is so terrible. The navigation was so terrible for you to find the right book. But that was not the main problem. The main problem was that after interview, we interviewed the target users. We talked to the parents, the mom, the daddy, the school teacher. The parents are so worried when they get to know it's SNS for the students. They say, I don't want my young daughter go to dating with another guy, you know. So they because it's for primary school, high school, you know, or middle school students. So they're scared. So they don't want the SNS site. They say, I will not let my child go to this website. So which means even though the navigation, the UX is already a problem, the positioning of the website is already a huge problem, you know. So then we redesigned the website. We redesigned the web strategy for it. We also talked. This also from the interview. Then you know during the interview we told the school teacher, the parents, don't worry. I said we have many textbooks. They said okay, I want to buy textbook. I want to buy good textbooks for my children, but I don't want them to go there dating, you know. So then we changed the strategy. We said, okay, so why you position yourself as a SNS site? You position yourself as a book selling website, and actually that's how you make money. You make money from selling, not from SNS, right? So we changed the way how they do it, and also when we do the homepage, we said not much people would go for the navigation. Even every time I go to Amazon, I search. I don't navigate. So we just provide a simple search bar. So you search a book. Then after you search, you will see the list. Of course, you will buy the book. After you make the purchase, you will say, oh, somebody else also purchased this book. Oh, he is also in San Jose. Maybe I make a friend. Maybe I can discuss about this book. So we make SNS become a sub-function, not a major function. We position this site as a book selling website for textbook for children, you know. So this will make them become successful, you know, become easier to be accepted for the parents, for the school teachers. And also you can learn user habits, user behavior from their buying, from their registration information, so that you know if they are studying in which year, studying in what grade, you know, you can recommend all the book for them. So we also eliminate all the navigation bars, you know, make that very simple. So when we did the mobile application service for Nokia, we also used many different ways for them to understand users. This is what I said. We use the facial expression analysis. So we catch the facial expressions together with another camera to catch their tasks, what kind of tasks they're doing. Then we compare, we find out the problems. What makes user happy? What makes user worried? What makes user confused? What makes them angry? Blah blah.
So are you looking for micro expressions, or are you looking at? I mean, if you're looking at the tasks, how can you start to determine their emotions unless you're looking at the micro?
It's two different cameras, but at the same time, it's happening at the same time. And also use a diary, and eye tracking. We did many type of way to open. And this one was not the winning, it's the finalist of IDEA 2008, mobile app. It was feature phone. It's not a smartphone. This one I mentioned last time previous. It's a website we did for NGO, for the blind people. So the NGO come to us want to help the blind people be able to make friends online, so they are not living in the darkness, So we have to do a lot of research, observation, also focus group talk. So do you guys know how blind people surf online?
They usually have web readers.
Yes. Yeah, so they have this kind of software that will read everything, every content on the screen for them. So how you, but then the blind people need to click the TAB key, the tab key. Every time they click, the mouse will move on the screen. One click, one move, one click, one move. So whenever they move, the mouse moves, the software will read. But think about if they use this software to read Yahoo, to read LL, it will be so complicated. So many movements for each page, blah, 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 blah. Right. So we need to make it simple enough for them to go to every page, to read all the content. So that's why how we did the website. So we provide a voice function that we provide a very simple navigation. So it's only one page, one screen. So they can easily left and right or to move and to every time they move to this topic, the software read for them, so they know. Then they enter, go to next step. Also, some visual impaired people, they are not totally blind. They still be able to see elevated things. So we provide a dynamic magnets. It's moved, enlarge. So you move the magnets, you read letters by letters. Or some people they have you can enlarge or decrease the font size. Or some people have a very special only response to some special color contrast. So after research, we provide that 3 contrast for them, so they can switch to the contrast best for them. Yeah. So that's how we did it, and it's also a award-winning piece. Yeah. Maybe I can show you a video of the product.
声波网让我找到了光明和爱的方向。
So this was online toy sales e-commerce website. We use eye tracking to help them understand if the web design works well. And for example, they use some web banners to show advertisement. The very old-fashioned web banners, the flashing one, keep flashing. They try to attract users to look at that. But when we use the experiment eye tracker to look at that, the users subconsciously know the flashing thing, the shiny thing is an advertisement. So they just ignore, jumped, So all the single details. We also hoped Nokia did a new stroke Chinese input methodology input. We define the user interaction. So this is how you do the interaction documents to define each steps, the sequence. So that we need to do a lot of research. We need to research about how the Chinese character is formed and how users do the input. It took us a lot of time to do such research. And it was also IDEA finalist for 2009. And this one they didn't choose this idea, but I also put here because I think it's a very good idea that the phone will learn your habits. So the keyboard, like the cell or like a what to, but the more you click some keys, the more you click, the bigger the button will be. Just some ideas we do this process. So different projects, we use different ways. So when you do research, I also say research also need to be creative. You need to understand what kind of target, what kind of purpose you want to achieve. To use a different way. Like this was research for karaoke, mobile karaoke. But we research many different people, like musicians, family people, or professional school teachers, to get to know how they, what kind of needs, what kind of ideas they have, how we can help them use mobile phones to do karaoke, to do music. USB testing I didn't put here because we will talk more at the later on during the classes. But it's also a way of doing research to understand the users. This class we talk about so many ways of doing research to understand the users, but not just for beginning, also for middle, during the process or after the process. Or use paper prototyping. This is for often is the phone screen or paper prototyping. Yeah, just some cases. Yeah. So that's all for today. Yeah, and yes.
I just wanted to see if we could scroll to the last. There you go, right there. So when we do the paper screens or whatever, you normally just lay it out on the table and just show them navigation.
That's a way. You have different ways to do it, or you can put every page on a like booklet, and you go one page by one page, flip, So there are many ways. Or like this is when you want to compare different ideas together. So don't have to. Yeah.